Hi everyone, today we are going to focus on Chapter 11, Improving Communication Climates. In the words of Rumi, if you are irritated by every rub, how will your mirror ever be polished? So I'm going to say that again. If you are irritated by every rub, how will your mirror be polished? Rumi was a 13th century poet. He was a Persian, a Sufi Muslim, a humanist, a mystic, a beautiful soul on this earth. And a lot of his poetry is so relevant to human communication. So I'll say this again, if you are irritated by every rub, how will your mirror ever be polished? And we will talk about defensiveness a little bit later on in this lecture in communication. So ways to be able to identify defensiveness in yourself and also in other people. And I will offer you some ways to respond that are not defensive so that we can create healthier communication climates. So today we are going to be talking about communication climate. And we use the weather as a metaphor for describing communication climates because oftentimes you might describe a romantic relationship as smooth sailing or stormy, or you might describe your romantic relationship cold as ice, or you might describe it as hot and heavy, hot as the sun. So there are different ways that we describe our communication climate, and that is the emotional tone of a relationship. It's in an interpersonal relationship, it is how we treat other people and how people feel based on how we treat people. So there are two basic types of climates that we can create. We can create more affirming and confirming climates, or we can create more disconfirming climates. And if we look at relationships, couples that have more confirming communication in their relationships, in various studies, they've reported that their relationships are much more healthy, they're much more satisfying, they're much more positive, and it's not too surprising that in relationships where the communication is much more disconfirming, that the relationships are not as satisfying. And people can stay together for years in a joyless marriage or in joyless companionship, and people can decide to divorce or decide to part ways as well. So today we're going to talk about some of the tools that you will need to send more confirming message, and also to be able to recognize some of the disconfirming messages that you get and also that you give. So we will talk more specifically about them. And why is this important? Well, one, for our own relational health, and two, what do we know about children and raising children and family communication? We know that children who lack confirmation or lack confirming messages from their family members and from their families, they suffer a broad range of emotional and also behavioral problems throughout life. So why not learn another way of communicating that can confirm the people in your life so that you can say to them, you matter to me, you are important to me. And so it's just learning how to communicate in a way that creates a more healthy, more positive environment.